Chuck, where it does seem to be working out, Mamelodi Sundowns. And the narrative during the season's break, in the off season, right?
Yeah.
Rhulani leaves, and there's an exodus from the technical staff, and then of course there's rebellion within the camp from some players and the coach or what have you, and then players are not playing, national team players. Here we are though. Sundowns won 5-0 against Golden Arrows in the Carling Cup knockout, and this is the fourth time this season they've scored 4 or more goals. Was the downfall of Sundowns much ado about nothing? Was it much exaggerated?
Probably, because of what they were under Rhulani and what they had achieved in terms of record points and the goals and all these things and the goal difference, they looked nigh unstoppable. They were 1 goal away from being invincible. And then when Mangoba comes and you're like, surely this guy is not as good as Rhulani, because I mean, who tops that particular season, who even matches that, right? And then you look at the fact that at their first opportunity for a cup, MTN8, they get knocked out. And so the idea was, see, we were right about this, that if you take away Rhulani, who was a key catalyst to their success at that level at which they were having it, because bear in mind, before Rhulani, they were winning leagues anyway. They were winning cups anyway under OPs, under the Three Wise Men and stuff like that. But once Rhulani was there by himself, you could see clearly his own ideas, and the team seemed to have gone up a level. And so when Mangoba Mngqithi, who comes in charge, because he never seemed like a key figure, not when it was Three Wise Men, not under Pitso, and you're like, okay, let's see, because we got to see what Pitso is like as a head coach, we got to see what Rhulani is like as a head coach, and so the question marks were around Mangoba Mngqithi by himself. What can he do? And so them getting knocked out of MTN8 and them not scoring that many goals, you're like, see, there's an issue there. But as time went and as the league campaign started as well, Sundowns score goals, and you're like, okay, they were still good. But the idea that we had at the beginning of the season was that Sundowns might go down, but not this season. They're not going to capitulate. They're not going to crumble. They might go down instead in terms of what Rhulani achieved. I don't know if that is even if that's even true at this moment, because goals win you matches, and the number of goals they're scoring is a lot. They're looking scary once again, and they've got Reyners who's scoring goals. They've got Morena who was a bit part player last season, who's coming in scoring goals. Tashrik is scoring goals. Ribeiro scoring goals, and there were concerns about the midfield makeup as well, right? Because there's the Mokoena thing, right, where you've got Allende and Kutsia almost not playing in the right positions, or one's not looking as sharp as what Mokoena could look like, and so it was a matter of him proving us wrong. And so far, man, we've been trying to prove that he is wrong, but so far the results have said that we are in the wrong so far. Sundowns is still going well, still smooth sailing. And they missed out on a cup, MTN8, but they look bang on to win this one if you look at just that particular result. So much ado about nothing so far. Yeah,
the downfall was much exaggerated, right? I said I need to see it. You can say that Sundowns, yes, they're gonna take a step back. And you think that because Rhulani is a coaching prodigy, and then there's the record number of points last season. So of course they have to come back, but then how far back into the field are they gonna come, and how far is the field then going to come towards them? And that's something we're still gonna find out. So far in the league, at least, you have Pirates who started 3 games and 3 wins right there alongside Sundowns, and Chiefs similarly, and the only game they've lost is against Sundowns. But Chuck, with Sundowns, even if you look at them being eliminated in the MTN8, they hit the post how many times?
Yeah.
Those go in. It's a different conversation. The conversation was, Sundowns cannot score goals. But the thing is, they were creating chances where now they are going in and you see the scorelines of 4 and 5, right? And the thing is with Mamelodi Sundowns, if you watch Sundowns, they look different to everybody else in the PSL. You absolutely see the blueprint. You see exactly. You see the passing lanes. You see the triangles. You see the tactical formation. You see the tactical shifts. You see exactly what they're doing. Like I was speaking to one former player, and he was saying that what happens when you play Sundowns as the opposition as well, they force you to think, because you see something happening in front of you, and you yourself tactically have to respond to that. You cannot just show up on the field and play. Agna asambeni sodlala. That's not what Sundowns do, and therefore you cannot do the same thing. And even in the game against Golden Arrows, right? Golden Arrows are not pressing Sundowns. They're playing a high line, but they're not pressing them. And what happens? You have the situation whereby Ribeiro pulls into the center, and the 2 wide men forwards, they run beyond the defensive line, and there's a defense splitting pass, and you've got 2-on-1. And you've seen that goal before from Matthews to Reyners. And that is not coincidence, right? that's something that is repetitive. And they've got the quality of players. They've got players who are educated in terms of the technocratic side of the game and are adaptable to different tactical systems and formations. Even under Rhulani, he went from the diamond to the chameleon, and they adapted to that. So it was much ado about nothing because they didn't lose all those players. They didn't lose all that quality. You can have Mokoena and Mutao on the bench and you can still be putting teams to the sword. Also, I'm going to say this for the rest of the season. Sundowns have the best player in the league. Lucas Ribeiro is absolutely tearing it up. And my concern with him, which is something that I saw a little bit of against Golden Arrows, is that he exists on a level a bit higher than the PSL, in my opinion. And sometimes he might get bored with what is happening out on the field and he overplays, because there were like a few occasions in the game against Golden Arrows where he could have given another pass or the simple pass and he tried to go for something a little more fancy, or he could have gone for goal and he was still maybe trying to take a few more touches. But when he's on it, like when the motivation is there and the mindset is there to go dominate and win this game, he's absolutely unplayable because he's dropping into spaces where who's supposed to pick him up? Is it the DM? Is it another midfield player? Because he starts as one of the forwards. Is it the centre back? Is it the full back? And it's chaotic in terms of what you do to respond to that tactically, And then what Mangoba does differently from Rhulani Mokoena is he plays with width as well. So centrally, there is the superiority with Ribeiro in there. Matthews also comes in there, and then you also have superiority on the wings as well, because you have Morena going down the one side, you have Tiwani coming up the other side as well. So you try solve that. Like I don't know if there are that many teams in the PSL who week in week out are gonna be able to solve that. So yeah, they're still looking very much like the dominant side. They're still looking like the team that everybody needs to figure out an answer for.
As when you talk about his using width now, I ask myself then, is there space for Masego, Bonku, players who like to cut inside and make something happen? And I think maybe there is still, right? And maybe this is the chance for Mangoba to then write his own story. By that I mean, he's kept on referring to his Golden Arrows days, and now he needs to say in my Sundowns days, because he's doing a good work. He's changed up the style and they look like a Mangoba side. They've moved away from the blueprint Rhulani and they look like his side, because one, he's using his own players, because we see what Umdao and Mokoena, Kulsumdao and Mokoena coming off the bench now. And maybe they get integrated later on in their starters, but he's building the team in his own image. They can add on Lodge, they can add on Slak, and they are still good. So I think we're about to hear from him.
Chuck, because you got to do it in April and in May on the continent. That is going to be the proof in the pudding, because the last man who was coaching Sundowns was let go of because he didn't meet the KPI of winning the Champions League. And one, you have to win the league because it's what you've been doing for 7 seasons in a row. Yeah. And you can look good now, but what is it going to deliver? And ultimately, I think it would do Mangoba and Sundowns well for him to win the calling knockout. We'll see though, because Kaizer Chiefs are coming up next in that one. But is it going to hold up, and is it going to translate when you then get into CAF Champions League play, as well as in those waning months of the season when the fatigue has set in? How have you rotated, and as I'm saying, is it leading to winning the championships that this particular organization wants? For now though, it's looking very good.